It was sent out. Thank you. It was sent out. The draft RFP was sent out to the entire board last week. Hopefully everyone had a chance to review it. I know there were some comments, but I will turn it over to you, Brian, for roll call and to discuss the item.
Thank you, Co-Chair Milne. I'm going to do roll call here. Letitia Brown Gambino, Tim Birch, Liz DaCosta, Michael Hughes, Michael, can you unmute? Okay, I'm going to come back to you. Jessica Raymond,
Here.
Sienna Valdez, Charles Sullivan,
Here.
Cricket Weatherington,
Here.
Co-Chair Rachel Milne,
Here.
Nathan Smith,
Here.
Chris Hallett,
Here.
Caitlin Dean,
Here.
Gabriel Jaramillo,
Here.
Emma Garcia,
Here.
Matthew Kelly.
Here.
Okay,
Brian, do you hear me now?
I got you, Michael. Thank you. Thanks for reminding me.
Sorry.
That's okay. Let's see. Real quick, we're going to run through.
I'm also here, Brian.
Oh, hi. Thank you, Danielle.
Hi.
Sorry about that. Real quick, Rachel, if you're staying on for 2 minutes, can you just run through the call to audience for the minutes?
All right. Is there any call to the audience?
There is no call to the audience. Or rather, there's no public comment received, and no one in the chat room here to offer public comment, so we will have no public comment. Okay, moving on from there, we are going to have now Cleo from MAG staff present on the item that's up for review today, which is a review, and then if so moved, we'll be looking at approval of the HMIS vendor RFP. Cleo, go ahead and share your screen, please, and we'll turn over the mic to you. Thanks.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for gathering to go over this review of the full RFP. We received some comments between our last meeting and this meeting that have been integrated into the RFPs for you all to view. And the hope is that we walk through each of these changes and you all provide any additional feedback on this. And then you would vote to, or motion to vote on whether or not to approve the RFP as it is. Because there are changes being made, we will need to take this back to Balance of State and PEMA to ensure that their representatives agree with the changes. So that would be the next step after that. And then anything that, if they had any additional changes on their end as well, based on the feedback you all provided, it would have to come back to we would make sure that you all saw it before it got officially released. However, the changes that have been requested so far are not anything that we would think PEMA or Balance of State would have any issues with or want to alter or change additionally. So thinking everything can move forward on that end should we come to an agreement today. So these changes can be categorized into sort of minor or more structural changes for the RFP, or I guess content changes, really. There, as you will see as we go through, some wording changes around minor phrasing of COC names or various typos and other phrasing that we'll walk through together, as well as some desired feature additions, things around leaving more notices and alerts and the ability for staff to do that in this new system, more specifics on custom fields and reporting, particularly around expansion of the data warehouse as well as integration with our state healthcare system. So those will be the main pieces that we are reviewing together today. So just so that everyone is fully aware of what each of the changes are, we're going to walk through them. We have these changes were provided to us by board members so far. Like I said, between last meeting and now, our HMIS team took those and integrated them into the document. CSH has viewed these and okayed all of them, so everything is good to go at this point. So if approved, these would be formalized changes. First off, changing homelessness to homeless. We have here, these are the wording changes with better defining each of the COCs and making sure that phrasing makes more sense for and is consistent throughout the document. Here, adding that the HMIS lead Solari has been the HMIS lead for over 10 years.
Leo,
Mhm.
can I make a quick point?
Sure.
As we're going through these, let's pause just briefly after each one to make sure everybody's clear on what the change is.
Okay. So far it's just been this minor phrasing change. You can see here it highlights with the comments when I click on it. Again, adding that Solari has been the administrator for over 10 years. Moving down, we have more phrasing changing of the Maricopa COC. I'll add that in our official HUD name references Phoenix and Mesa only, but for the purpose of this RFP, it makes sense to consistently refer to us as the Maricopa COC. Changing this should have and be able to just shall, so condensing of language. These are kind of the real simpler wording ones, not the system features. We're now moving to the area where there's suggestions for additional system features. So under case management and care coordination, the ability for staff to leave notices or alerts to other staff or agencies about the client's care coordination. So this would be added as a fourth bullet point here for case management and care coordination, desired functionalities. In the same, or sorry, different section under the desired system features for coordinated entry. We can add exchange standardized data fields with the state's closed loop referral system, and then have them refer to the data exchanges and integrations section of this RFP, which sort of adds more detail to that. I will add too that Randy handled much of this integration. So Randy, if at any point you want to jump in and provide more details for this, please do. Under project administration, adding a third point here on the ability to integrate housing and healthcare outcomes and reporting. So additional specifications around that. Under installation and customization, we have language here, or requested language here around some commitments that the vendor would make for best practices. And here we could likely add this in a couple different sections of the RFP, so we would leave it up to CSH to see where it would fit best for that, either in section 2 or 18. sorry, 11 or 18. We would also be removing references to specific organizations and refer more broadly to HMIS system administrators and HMIS leads. Which would apply here. Changing this title of this section to data warehousing exchanges and integrations. Providing additional specifications here around integration, particularly for our state health system, as well as interactions with that closed loop system and 211. Yes, Caitlin.
Should there be mention of anything with homeless prevention agencies or systems? I know that there's like some interest in that being part of what is a function of our new system, is like a shared thing for not just the homeless agencies, but homeless prevention too. So should there be mention of that, particularly in something like that comment?
So I do know that homeless prevention is a project that we already have as running in our HMIS system. I don't know if Randy, you want to speak more to what more would necessarily be needed in an HMIS system that we don't already have to track homelessness prevention.
Yeah, there are there is some fields that or providers using systems that aren't HMIS. I'd answer that in two ways. I think one, we're separate from this RFP, we are situating the Dwell HMIS warehouse to be able to bring in custom fields from from a prevention provider who's not necessarily who isn't an HMIS provider. So I think that's would be a main solution to using it. However, I do think it's still valuable to try to exchange that down to the HMIS. Without having any details, I would sort of have this fall under number 2 on the screen there. So B part 1 and then part 2. Yeah, right there. So that's sort of the bigger catch-all that I have for ideas like this. But we can call out, add it as another specific example of a type of project that could work just as well.
Caitlin, this is Matt. Just when you say homeless prevention, are you referring to like the broader category of prevention in general, or is it specifically that to that funding point? Does that make sense? Just to make sure that I understand.
I mean, I am kind of thinking specifically of programs that are doing like rent and utility assistance, but I know that that's a broader category, generally speaking. Prevention is a lot of different things, so I guess
that's why, yeah, that's kind of, I
yeah.
mean, it's a big thing. Like you say prevention and it means like, is it CSBG dollars from the CAP offices? Is it all these other things that we're asking to integrate into this as well? And I don't know if I'm opening a can here, but I mean,
I guess I kind of am opening that can too, because that's the same thought. Is do we want it to be CAP office kind of funding, or is it just generally like foundation grants where they have prevention dollars and people are entering information for the sake of preventing homelessness, that kind of thing. So
for sure, yeah.
Emma, I see your hand up.
Yeah, similarly, I had a kind of a similar question or comment, but do you think that just the ability to be able to have that flexibility in the future, right, within the system RFP is, I think, a huge benefit, right, to just ensure that whoever the vendor is aware that that's potentially something that we would want to integrate in the future somehow. I think just keeping it there, that allows us that flexibility in the future, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. It probably makes more sense to keep the language kind of open for the sake of prevention being something that's kind of molded as things change. So,
Right. I agree. Thank you for bringing it up.
So it sounds like adding like an IE homelessness prevention work here would satisfy. Okay.
I think I would even go so far as to say prevention activities so that it's not like, I want to be clear, we're not talking about like ESG funded homeless prevention, but we're talking, I think, a broader category of things. So I think it's clear to more broadly define it as prevention activities. If you wanted to get specific, you could say grant funding, CSVG, or other things like that, like things that are outside of the standard ESG, like continuum per se.
Lastly, for this review would just be making sure our timeline is updated once this is approved officially. The cadence would stay the same. It would just push back to whatever, based on whatever RFP release date we can realistically do. So these are the integrated edits, like I said, that we received so far. Do we have additional discussion that the board wants to have around this? To add anything else or edit anything else?
So, with that in mind, Rachel had promised me that if she weren't here, she may not have been able to stay for the whole meeting. I was going to get to call for a motion, but it looks like co-chair is still here. So, Rachel, would you like to do that? I think I will go ahead and ask for that then. So, we've heard the changes. Would anybody like to motion for approval of this proposed document moving forward?
Sorry, Brian, is there a motion to approve? This is Rachel.
That's what we're asking for. And I just read the script that I typed up this morning, Rachel, so I'll let you jump in if there's a response.
So moved.
I'll second.
Was that a second?
Yes.
All right. So Brian, do we need to do roll call?
I'll go ahead and read through this script, Rachel, since I've got it in front of me. And thanks again for being here on your day off, Rachel. We really appreciate it. So we'll now have members take part in a voice vote. To participate in the voice vote, you will have to have your camera on, please. And then if you are not able to turn on your camera or it's just glitching or we're not able to see you, then I will call a roll call vote at the end of that to catch anybody that we may have missed. And so can I get a voice vote? Those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Okay, it looks like I got a vote or photo on for everybody except for R got better.
That's me, Brian. I'm sorry. It's Mike Hughes.
Okay, Mike, no problem. This is a roll call vote. Yay or nay?
Aye. Aye.
Great. Okay. And with that, it looks like the motion passes. And so we will be moving this forward to CSH for the RFP. As mentioned, just as a reminder, I think Cleo explained this at the top, but this is going to now go back. CSH is going to have to run this by the other COCs. We don't anticipate any concern. If there were, we would have to look at it again with their updates, but hopefully this is the last time we'll have to see it. Thanks everybody for getting together today to do this. Any questions or comments before we move on?
Brian, I can comment quickly on next steps too.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you, Cleo.
Just so the board is aware, once this is out, then we will pretty much immediately after be sending out requests for those who would like to join in the panel that will be reviewing the applications that do come back. We would very much like COC board representation of that. We'll have to keep it sort of small since it will be a panel with all three COCs. So I believe we will have 3 representatives from each COC. So at least one of those could be a board member. That would be great. If you have interest, please let us know. Otherwise, we will be sending out more formal requests to you via email for that.
I do have a quick comment. I wanted to thank you both for doing this so quickly and pulling this together and getting it taken care of. So thank you.
Okay, thank
Thank
you
you.
to Randy and his team for getting this together for us.
Yes, and all the people at Slurry.
Thanks, everybody. With that, we are adjourned.
Thank you.